This is a quick follow-along tutorial for creating 3 textures in one object. By the end of this video, you'll have this magnifying glass for yourself. So first thing you want to do is download the blend file. There's a link in the description below. Once you've opened the project, this should be what you see. If you don't have the Node Wrangler add-on activated, it's under Edit, Preferences, Add-ons. Make sure the box is ticked. For this project I'm using Cycles Render Engine. In the scene you have the magnifying glass as one object, the map which has some texture, a subdivision and displacement modifiers, some lights and camera, and the wall as the environment and for some of the glass reflections. It's hidden in the viewport at the moment, but it's visible in the render. So let's start with the metallic texture. Selecting the object and adding a new material and call it metal. Metallic all the way up and changing the roughness to 0.1 for now. For the color I want to make it kind of golden, so I'm gonna use a yellow-orange color. So I'll set the hue to 0.1, saturation to 0.75 and value all the way up. The only thing I want to play with for this texture is the roughness. Now let's add a noise texture, so Shift A, add a noise texture, Control Shift click the noise texture to see what we got. Add in a color ramp as well and drop it after the noise texture, change it to ease and move those flags a bit closer for now so we see something here. Selecting the noise texture and pressing Ctrl T, change the texture coordinate to object. I actually forgot to change the texture coordinate on the video. In the noise texture, moving the scale up a bit to 7.5, detail all the way up to 15, roughness to 0.9 to see some details, and a bit of distortion at 0.4. Plug the color ramp to the roughness socket. Selecting the dark flag and set the value to 0.07, so it's still very reflective, and at 0.53 position. Choosing the light flag and change its value to 0.4 and to 0.58 position. Moving on to the glass material, clicking on the material tab and adding a new material, naming it glass. Pressing tab for edit mode, 7 on the numpad for top orthographic view, and Shift Z for wireframe mode. Selecting the 4 middle faces, you can see it has selected the bottom and the top of the object. Holding Ctrl and pressing the plus button to expand the selection until you reach the corner. If you have selected too many faces, you can press Ctrl and minus instead. With those faces selected, clicking the Assign button, removing the principal BSDF and adding a glass shader. Now I'm only going to change the color so it looks a little bit like an old lens, like a green-yellow color should do the job, so I'll go with 0.25 hue and 0.2 saturation, value all the way up. So let's add the last material, so clicking the plus button, click new and name it wood. In edit mode, double-clicking this loop, and just like before, holding Ctrl and pressing the plus button until you reach here and here. Assigning these faces to the wood material. So we'll start with the wood colors and we'll add a noise texture for that. Ctrl Shift click the noise texture so we see what's going on here. Ctrl T to have the mapping and adding a color ramp after the noise texture. Changing to 40 and unchecking normalize. In the mapping node I'm gonna stretch the Y scale up to 145 and the Z scale to 18. For the noise texture I'll scale down to 0.04, detail up to 15, linearity to 13 and distortion to 0.9. Dropping the principal BSDF after the color ramp, changing the black flag to a dark brown, so 0.03 hue, 0.93 saturation and 0.04 value. Now changing the white flag to light orange, so hue at 0.04, saturation 0.95 and value at 0.9. Clicking plus to add another flag in between, set the hue to 0.04, saturation at 0.95 and value at 0.2, changing the position to 0.4. We're going to use the same noise for the roughness, so click and drag from the factor and add another color ramp. Plug the color ramp to the roughness, change the value of the black flag to 0.4 and the white flag to 0.6. And using the same noise again, this time for the bump. So click and drag and add a color ramp. Click and drag from the color to connect to the height socket of the bump node and connecting normal to normal, lowering the strength to 0.07. And now we can look closely and see what we've done here. So the dark brown is more shiny and the light orange is more rough, and the lower with the bump node, which means it looks like worn wood. And that's all made with nodes only. Feel free to play around with the values and getting different results. I hope you guys like this video. Make sure to subscribe if you don't want to miss out any future videos. Thanks for watching!